Well, hello there. This is Sandy Allnock, and I want to welcome you to day 5 of the 24 Tags of Christmas 2014. This is a 6-video series in which I make 4 tags in each video, and I'm giving them all away so you can visit day 1 to find out how you can qualify to win. I am going to be using a different stamp set today than planned because I got this lovely package in the mail. I'm so excited! These are monsters that I designed. And they're so cute, and they're kind of for Valentine's Day, but they're going to work for anything, and they're just so adorable. So we're going to make them into Christmas tags, just so I can show them to you today, because they release today. There will be links in the doobly-doo to go get them, because you're going to want them. I am using memento markers, and I'm going to put the colors in the upper left-hand corner just once when I first use the color, and I'll have links in the description for all of them. But I'm not using all the colors shown. I just had all my markers just out in a pile so I could figure out what I was doing as I went. I am using this Olive Grove marker first. This one I actually lost the lid for, and I'll give you a little tip on this. I don't know if it works on other brands of marker, but it was kind of drying out and I still wanted to use it because it's the only dark green that I have, and I dipped it into water and it actually refreshed itself. It was a little on the washed out side color-wise, but it still worked, so that's better than nothing, right? Better than throwing out a marker. So I'm coloring each section of the little stamp, whichever color I want to color it. And as I did this, I was actually talking to the stamps and asking them their names. So I'll give you their names as we go. That one was Wendell, and this little guy's name is Bruce. And yeah, I know, I'm weird, I talk to my stamps. And if you start doing this, by the way, and you get interrupted, which I did several times, and you end up having to come back to it after you started coloring, you don't have to recolor everything again. Just huff on it and just do a quick onto the stamp, and it will kind of refresh the ink enough that you can stamp with it. And if there's any spots you miss, all you have to do is go back in with the drawing end of the marker and fill those back in, and nobody will know the difference that you missed a little spot. This little guy is Jeremy, and Jeremy wants you to know that he is more afraid of people than people are of him. So if you have little kids who are afraid of monsters, you can introduce them to Jeremy, and maybe they can both make each other feel better. These stamps I designed in particular for kids, because I mean, you know, we can make cue cards for kids, but kids could use these. They're really simple shapes to color. They're monsters, and what kid doesn't like monsters? They would make great stamps for kids to make their own Valentines to take to school, and that would be really cute. On my blog post for this, I'm going to try to have some Valentine's ideas for what you could do with your kids using this stamp set. They're not done yet, of course, while I'm filming this, but I'm going to try to have something done and posted in the blog post. So there will be a link at the end if you want to go see what that's all about as well. This little girl was so shy, she just didn't even want to talk to me, so she didn't tell me her name. So I'm going to name her after my little friend Penny. She's one of my little crafting buddies, and she likes pink, so Penny's going to be pink and purple. And yeah, that's how it rolls around here. We talk to our stamps. And I'm just going to finish giving her a little bit more color, and then I'll huff on her and give her a little press, and she'll be ready to roll. Each one of these is going to get now a little bit of extra work done to them because I'm going to put backgrounds on them. So I'm going to create masks on my 2-inch post-it note tape paper stuff. Ugh, can't talk. These 6 videos have taken it all out of me. So I'm fussy cutting these out of this post-it note paper, which I like better than using post-it notes when I'm going to save my masks. So if I want to use these masks again and again, then I do it on this, and then I can put these into the stamp pocket, and they last longer than post-it notes, so because they're sticky all over the whole back. I'm using a couple other stamps from the stamp set to add a few little details, like these falling envelopes. Poor Jeremy is going to get crushed under envelopes. This one's going to be a little ornament that Bruce will hold. And then Penny is going to get herself some mistletoe made out of the solid hearts that are solid heart that's in the stamp set. And little Wendell's just not going to get anything on his tag because I got another idea for him. Alrighty, so now I got out my, this was where the whole thing took a little bit of a left turn. I got out my holiday banners stamp set from Simon Says. And originally I was going to just use the sentiments from it and maybe cut out banners to put on here. And then I got this brainstorm. I had seen somebody, there was an artist on Facebook that did little monsters on lined paper. And I thought, wait a minute, I could do something like that, just using the banner. Because the banners, there's in the stamp set, there's solid banners as well as these little stitches types of banners. And I'm just using the stitched lines to create these like, it looks like kids' writing paper or school paper. And I even used 1/2 of it to make a line for the ornament to hang down from the ceiling for little Bruce to hold. So it worked out really great. I love when I suddenly discover things in my stamp sets that I hadn't thought of before. So I think I'm going to keep this stamp set out and more handy for more than just the holidays. So I'm going to add lines to little pennies tag as well. And here we go with little Wendell. He's just so cute. I don't think he needs a whole lot more on his little tag because he's just adorable. So I'm going to add his lines. And this whole thing went a little awry when I came to this one because all of these envelopes, I really just didn't feel like masking out. So what I decided to do instead was to only ink right up to where the banner takes a little curve. And that way I could stamp right up to the edge of my envelopes and press it down and then ink it up again just from that point on, and then not have to mask out all those little itty bitty pieces. So it was a great way to take, you know, just a little bit of a measurement simply from where I was inking on the little stamp, and then filled in my lines with the writing nib of the marker. Super easy to do. Alright, now starts the fun of coloring. And I just have water on my brush. I don't have any color yet. So you can see it's starting to pull in color from the stamped lines. If you leave a pool of moisture on there, it'll start to break down that ink that's in the marker. And you can almost see it start to happen. But I have a palette that I made just on an acrylic block. You could do that on all different kinds of things, on a piece of plastic, on a craft mat, whatever you want. Just scribble some marker, and then I'm using that as a palette to pull color in using a number 2 Grumbacher brush. And here I'm just going to pool water into the heart, and you need to keep the water inside, pardon me, the shapes, so that they don't bleed out all over the place. And then I'm just dropping some red ink in there, some of the red marker color, and just letting the color sort of flow on its own however it wants to. Setting that on the side, and I'm going to move on to another one because I want to try to not color 2 areas right next to each other until they're good and dry. If I colored his box right after I colored his little green body, then I stand a really good chance of the green, you know, mixing into the brown or vice versa. So I just color each section separately as I do my watercolor type stuff so that I don't get any mushy messes. So I'll set that one aside. Now we'll do little Jeremy, filling in all of the little red on his hair, his little furry self. I can't wait to get my Copic markers out on these guys. This is going to be so much fun. This tells you a whole lot about me that I actually watercolored these stamps before I Copic colored them. I don't think that's ever happened before, so maybe there's some sort of transformation taking over me. Who knows? A rift in the universe, in the space-time continuum. So we fill in a couple other sections on him, his little stand for the mailbox, as well as all the envelopes. Get them all kind of quickly painted in. And then little penny, little purple penny, purple and pink. So I can mix the purple into the red from her ponytails. And I put a little red on her horns as well, so she's going to kind of have a little bit of two-tone going on for her, which is really cute. And get all that finished, and then I'll go back into some of these other ones. This one I put a lot of blue ink in, and I was expecting it to dry back a little bit, and it didn't while I was coloring all this other part. I wanted to add more depth underneath of him, give him a sharper line, and put a little shadow under the heart as well. And his eyes had dried, so I couldn't really do anything about him, but all I had to do was re-wet them and then dab it off, and it worked just fine. So I don't know how long that will work if you do that technique of just re-wetting it a day later. That may or may not work, but it worked within 10 minutes of putting that color on. So just going to add a little more detail to each one of them, fill in the other sections that hadn't been colored, and putting the blue in each one of their eyes, which I just love to do. Gives them roundness and depth, and makes them look a little bit more alive. And here's the lip in. And I know that her little heart needs to be colored in, so after I finished smooshing around some green on the mistletoe, put a little more extra red marker onto my palette so I could get a good strong red, not a washed out kind of watery down red from my palette, and give her a good red heart to hold. And then she needed a little bit of shadow under her as well. Put a little shadow at a nice distance underneath the mistletoe. There's a for you stamp sentiment in the stamp set, and I decided to throw that onto each one of them and in random places. And then I added the sentiments from the Simon Says holiday banners stamp set that I was using for the lines. And I even used Joy to the Whir and let the LD be masked out by that one envelope that is flying past Jeremy, just because I thought it would be funny. So I think these came out really adorable. They'd be great for little kids. And again, I invite you to go to my blog today to find out more about how you can get these stamp sets, as well as maybe some ideas for using for Valentine's for your kids. We have one more day in the series coming tomorrow, and it's one of my very favorites, and you're going to want to stay tuned for that. So I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, feel free to click on any annotation to see another video, or on the 24 tags in the center to go to my blog post. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.